It's been 6 years since I started Blushing Phoenix. 6 years. I pulled up YouTube the other day, my YouTube studio, and it was like, it has been 6 years since you started this channel. And I thought, oh my gosh, 6 years ago, I set out to explore why I was turning red, why I was flushing. Didn't even know it was called erythrophobia. Blushing Phoenix was not called Blushing Phoenix at the time. It was called Lean In Warrior. And it's just amazing how the journey has unfolded and how things have evolved. And I wanted to take some time today to reflect on the past 6 years, to share updates about myself and what I've learned on this journey over the past 6 years of understanding erythrophobia, from figuring out what the term was and what it meant and how to navigate it. What started off as me trying to find a cure to make it stop turned into this journey of self-exploration and self-acceptance. And I want to talk to you about that today. I started the channel to understand my blushing and find ways to heal. 6 years ago, my first video was me sharing fresh out of the shower. I'm in my night clothes. I'm super flushed and I am on the verge of tears sharing I'm coming clean about this thing that I deal with. If I go back and watch that video 6 years later, I'm like, she who sits in front of you now is definitely not that same person. And a lot of the reason why I think so much of that healing has occurred in my life is because I didn't want to remain that person. I didn't want to stay stuck in the limited mindset that something was wrong with me. I wanted to discover what was going on. I wanted to figure out how to change it. I wanted to figure out how to change my mindset about it. And I was willing to do whatever it took in order to go deeper instead of wider, if that makes sense. Like, stop trying to find these quick fix solutions and really just unpack what the heck is going on here. I didn't realize it was going to evolve into a journey of self-acceptance and growth the way it did. And I'm happy and excited to share that with you today, how all of that unfolded for me. And it comes with a lot of highs and lows and ups and downs. There are so many videos that I made where I'm like, I found a solution. And then the next video, I'm like, nothing works. It's not working. So if you're somebody who struggles with blushing or flushing and turning red, and you feel like you have had some success and then you feel like you have a setback, you are not alone in those feelings, because I was on that journey as well. It's when I hit this wall that I'm like, maybe it's not about curing it. Maybe it's not about making it go away. Maybe it's not that it's truly a problem. Maybe it's an invitation for me to go deeper so I could actually live freer beyond turning red, because it felt like it was the redness that was making me feel so trapped and enslaved. But truly, it was much, much deeper than that. And that's why I say it is not a curse, it's an invitation. Initially, I thought the flushing that I was dealing with, which was chest and neck, was hormone related. And I went on this, well, first I thought it was like histamine, and I made some changes to my diet, and I tracked that for a little bit 6 years ago when I started the channel. And then I moved over to looking into estrogen and progesterone. I couldn't think of the word. And I got off my birth control pills. And that's also why I have a 4-year-old at 40 years old. I have an almost 18-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a pandemic surprise, which he is 4. He turned 4 this summer, because your girl got off of her birth control pills to try to just let my body naturally reset itself. I did learn that hormones do play a role. I believe that blushing is also emotional and energetic. I think the problem that so many people have is that they're trying to figure out where it's coming from, because if you can figure out what's triggering it, and if you just obviously eliminate whatever that thing is, then you can get rid of the blushing. But that is what really threw me for a loop, because I felt like I would target what it was, and then a few days later, I would be flushed in a same situation I was in maybe like a week or so earlier, where I didn't flush at all. And that just leaves you scratching your head and wondering, like, what am I missing here? Then I went into my propranolol journey. And for those of you who don't know, propranolol is a beta blocker. A lot of times it is used for high blood pressure, I believe, but it also can be used to help just calm your system down. And for those of you who are extremely energetic and upbeat and have a lot of energy, high metabolism, I guess, or maybe even ADHD. I'm not sure. My doctor didn't prescribe it for those reasons, but I know I deal with a lot of those symptoms. and she prescribed propranolol in 2020. I only stayed on it for a few months, and I have many videos on my journey with propranolol, and to me, it was the thing. If you are looking for something to help reduce or eliminate the blushing, those fearful feelings, the overwhelming thoughts that loop in your mind when you're in a social setting, then definitely check with your doctor about propranolol. I did some research prior to getting on propranolol, and I never pursued it further because so many people had written online that it didn't work. So when I went to see my doctor and just talk through everything that was going on, it was I was building a new relationship with her. Not only did I feel seen and heard and understood, I left with a prescription for propranolol, and I believe mine was 40 milligrams, which I wound up cutting in half because the 40 milligrams did make me feel just a little off. I'm really sensitive to medications. I can feel that something is different. I don't think a lot of people actually feel the difference, but I could feel the difference. And I just felt like it was slowing me down, and I don't really like to be slowed down. I just want the blushing to slow down, you know? They're small little pills. I wound up cutting mine in half to 20 milligrams and taking those. Life-changing, life-altering. I only took them for a few months. I don't take them. I don't have any like freshly prescribed to me because what I needed was I just needed something to give me a break and a pause so that I could feel like I could gather myself and get my hands around what was going on in my body, because what was happening is every time I would turn red, I would internally panic and go into this like survival response. And I never knew which one I was going to get. Am I going to get fight, flight, fawn, freeze? And I needed something to help slow that process down so that I could get in there and start to understand better what triggered that situation. What am I thinking when that happens? What are options for how I can respond and react besides just running away or like trying to like cover myself and hide? And propranolol was hugely effective for me. And then I started speaking about it like, hey, I don't know if it will or won't work for you, but go ask your doctor about it. Some people have asked me like, well, why don't you just still take it now? I just didn't want to be dependent upon a medication. Now it's funny because I see ads. I don't know if you see these ads, but I see ads all the time for, I think it's Kick. They're like, are you a nervous speaker or are you a blusher? And they promote propranolol. And I just find that really interesting because I don't know if other people were exploring that at the same time or if they were watching my videos and somebody went and made a business deal off of it. But either way, if it's helping people, it's helping people. And propranolol was incredibly effective for me. I just realized that it's not so much that I wanted a cure. As I got into the journey, I wanted to understand why it was happening, and I wanted to meet myself where I'm at and not just take a medication to hide it. What I really like about it also is that it's used as needed, and with guidance from your doctor. That's what my doctor told me. It was just used as needed. So it wasn't something that I had to take every single day. It just was really impactful for in-office meetings. It was during the pandemic and we were all working from home, and then I would have to go to the office every now and then. And on the days that I would go to the office, I would take it. It's a tool, not a cure. It gave me breathing room while I did the inner work, and that's how I utilized it. But if you need to use it and you need to use it all the time, you do you. This is just me sharing about my own experiences. Let's talk about 6 years ago, what would happen if somebody pointed out that I was flushing or that I had hives. With the whole, are you okay? Oh my gosh, you just got so red. Are you okay? That was such a trigger for me, and it would only make it worse, right? I would panic. There would be embarrassment. I would want to run away. I would try to get away. It would make me even hotter and more flushed because I was already feeling it probably. But then once they pointed it out, it was just like that extreme judgment that would make me even worse. The physical reaction fed the emotional reaction, and it became an extremely vicious cycle. So let's talk about how that's changed in the 6 years. And again, this has been a process. This is not something that was just like, and then all of a sudden it has been constantly showing up, constantly feeling it, constantly exploring why it's happening. The days that it didn't happen, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And the days that it did happen, I was like, oh, okay, okay, well, that's just kind of what it is. It's fine. But recently I was meeting with a new hairstylist and she noticed that I had splotches on my neck. And for a hairstylist, this is very concerning for them because they think that you might be having an allergic reaction. I had gotten my hair colored and she was actually doing the cut at this point, and it was actually pretty cold in the salon, but when she cut my hair, it went down inside of my shirt, and so it was itching me, and I got splotchy on one side of my neck. She goes, "Girlfriend, you've got hives right now. Are you okay?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, it's fine. It's probably from where the hair is itching me. It's fine." And then I could see that I did not care. I actually thought I had already told her about it because this was my second time to see her. And normally when I meet a hairstylist for the first time, I just go ahead and give them a heads up. I have a video on that, I believe, where I talk to you guys about how I'm going to go in, I'm going to get my hair done, and I'm going to have to tell them that I'm turning red and that my body is going to react like I'm in danger until it realizes that I'm not in danger. And so I shared with her that I thought I already told you that happens to me. And she was like, "No, are you not itching? Is everything okay?" I was like, "No, it's totally fine." I'm like, "It's just something that happens." I'm actually shocked that it's happening right now and it didn't happen last time, but I normally give a hairdresser a heads up so that they don't freak out. And she just really wanted to make sure that I was okay. But what I noticed is that in the early days, I would have lost it. That would have just leveled me into such a deep spiral of insecurity. And this time I was literally just telling her about it. It's like, it's not that big of a deal. I'm just telling you about it. And there was no spiraling. I just calmly educated her and we just carried on with our conversation. It was a huge full circle moment because it didn't define me and I stayed grounded and confident. It just didn't alter me at all. In fact, it was really interesting to watch her response and watch her discomfort. And it's not because she was feeling any sort of way about me personally. It's that she was just like taught that people can have allergic reactions. For my safety, she wanted to make sure that I was okay. It was just so interesting to sit there and observe it, almost like an out-of-body experience where I'm like, whoa, this would have completely made me spiral a few years ago. Like, you know how sometimes you're just sitting in a moment and you're like, who is she? That's what it was. Let's also talk about the channel and erythrophobia content, what's happened here at Blushing Phoenix. So over the years, I've evolved and I wanted to talk about more than blushing. I didn't want to get stuck in just the stories of blushing because my life was so much more than that. And something that I share with you guys all the time is that you are so much more than blushing. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a friend. I do creative projects. I work full time. There's just so much that I'm involved in and that I love to do. And there's so many different parts of me that blushing is like so small on the scale of who I am. And so as I started to heal and evolve, especially once I moved to South Carolina, environment is everything. You've heard me say that many times. I just really believe that sometimes even just the environment that you're in, whether that's at work, your home environment, the state that you live in, it can be creating such a problem for you energetically. That can also contribute to your nervous system being extremely dysregulated and your flushing and blushing situation because you just don't feel safe in your environment. So you don't feel safe in your body because you just don't physically feel safe or emotionally safe. And that's what started to happen as I started to evolve beyond blushing and I wanted to talk about so much more. And I think it just really confused YouTube and the algorithm for like, who is this Blushing Phoenix and what does she talk about? And I just wanted to be able to share so much more. But then I realized that even though I have evolved beyond being a detrimental thing for me, there are so many people who are just now finding this content and who are realizing that there's hope and that so many of you enjoyed watching my journey and having me talk about these types of things because I wasn't living in that like deep pit of it anymore. I had kind of crossed over to another side. And for a lot of people who are on the journey, they need to know that that other side is possible and they need to know that it's possible for them as well. So I realized that there were still so many people in the early stage who need guidance. Blushing Phoenix has a purpose and it is to help those who are navigating this. And so sometimes I have to take a little break to try to recalibrate what am I expressing on the channel. And it really hit me that I needed to show up and do a video about erythrophobia and what the whole meaning of Blushing Phoenix started as and how it evolved. So that's why I wanted to make this video for you today. So let's talk about what freedom looks like. You can live a confident, fulfilling life and still blush. You can. And if you feel resistance in your body when I say that, it's because there is something in you that believes you cannot. And if you believe you can't, you won't. And sometimes it's like, I've seen some hypnosis. What are those? Hypnosis? What are they called? What are they called? Oh, a hypnotist or a hypnotherapist. Wow, that was a big struggle. I have seen some hypnotists and hypnotherapists who claim that, well, you're just not believing hard enough. And that is absolute trash. And you should not do business with those people. I'm just saying, that's crap. What I'm saying to you is that to get from one belief to the next belief sometimes can feel, and you probably had this experience before, it's just an overnight experience. One day you just didn't feel that way anymore. But usually that comes from a lot of freaking struggle and a lot of in between that led from the captivity to one day you're just free. And you didn't even know you were free. It just kind of snuck up on you. That is the belief. What am I believing about this moment that is making me respond and react this way? And for me, I could not for the life of me come up with that answer. I did not know, because sometimes beliefs are so subconsciously and unconsciously hidden so deep within, you can't get to it on the surface. It comes through layer after layer after layer after layer after layer. And then one day, maybe you discover what it is, and maybe you don't, but your body just releases it. I could not figure out how to get somebody from that belief that is holding you captive to the freedom, because the belief changed. The only thing I could say that I really did was I just kept showing up and I wanted more. And I believed, something in me just believed that I could overcome it. I don't really know what else was guiding me through that. I just knew I wasn't going to give up. I was not going to give in to the idea that I couldn't show up and be who I want to be and do the things I want to do because I turned red. I was not going to do that. I really believe you can live a confident and fulfilling life and still blush. It's about putting yourself in the situation enough to feel that just happened and I'm still safe and everybody's okay. Whereas when you first start blushing or you have that situation happen, a lot of people run away or get really insecure and shut down and like go in such a panic mode, a fight or flight response, survival response, and your nervous system is so dysregulated that you almost don't even remember. You like dissociate in the moment. You don't even remember being in the moment. And that takes a lot of mental energy to be able to stay in the moment and be very aware while you're feeling so much discomfort. About stopping the blush, it is really about releasing the shame, going back to what am I believing that's making me respond this way and feel this way. And the less I cared, the less control it had. And you cannot manufacture not caring. It is, again, it's by saying, I'm going to show up no matter what. I'm going to go to that get together. I'm going to speak at that event. I'm going to apply for that job and be present in that job interview. And I'm going to be okay. It's not going to define me at the end of the day. I also realized that people really don't care, and that's freeing. I made some really great friends this year, and almost probably within the first few times of meeting them, because they knew about my podcast, and I would share about why I created Blushing Phoenix and what it meant, and none of them cared. I actually was hanging out with some girls. This was during the summer. Two of the girls that I had become friends with this year, and we were sitting out at the pool, and we had had some drinks. We were just hanging at the pool. It's hot, and I just start flushing like crazy, and they literally didn't care, but it also was like, how flushed am I? And I looked down, and we all just kind of started laughing about it, and I was like, my body is literally having a response that this is not safe. And thank you for being on this journey with me, because we together are teaching my body that I am safe here. And once it gets the hint that you're safe here, you keep showing up with these girls, you keep being vulnerable with them, then my body's going to back off, because it's going to realize you are safe and okay here. Yeah, they just didn't care. They were actually pretty fascinated and intrigued by it and very interested in learning more about it. And never once did they not ask me to hang out again or treat me any differently because I was turning red. And then finally, in my What Freedom Looks Like section, I said, you can speak publicly, you can make friends, you can have relationships, and you can thrive. And if I say that and you immediately feel this resistance to that, like, no, I can't, then you're not going to. And that is truly the difference of having a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, is that a growth mindset says, there's got to be a way. It's not about curing it. It's not about eliminating it forever, but there's got to be a way for me to still show up, and I'm going to. All of that to say, thank you for being on this journey with me, whether you just got here or you're just finding this message. Maybe we're at year 10 at this point, but for those of you who have been here on the journey, who've evolved with me, who we've had Zoom calls or we've talked through Instagram or through the comments here on Blushing Phoenix, I am just so grateful for you. The reason why I carried on is because you talked to me, because you let me know I wasn't alone. I was talking into this abyss of nothingness. I started the channel because I was struggling so deeply with this, and every time I went to search for answers, I found really scary stuff like mast cell activation disorder and all these other like ailments of like you're dying. And there was just like bare minimal information about erythrophobia and the psychological impact of being in that loop of being judged, the nervous system dysregulation, picking up social cues and body language, and the body just feeling like it's not safe and creating a flushing response because you don't feel safe in that moment. Blushing Phoenix will always be a safe place for you to navigate erythrophobia, to explore through my own story, to share yours. My story shows that healing is possible. It truly is going from panic to peace, and all of that lives right inside of you. It is a self-discovery journey. It is meeting yourself so deeply internally that you release yourself from the prison that you have put yourself in. Thank you to everybody who's ever done an interview with me, who let me put your story on Blushing Phoenix. Those interviews get a lot of traffic. People love to hear other people talk about it. People who, I'm just so grateful for, I'm getting emotional about it. Like, I'm just so grateful for you because it takes so much to put your story out there. People who have given me the honor to coach them have said to me that I have been in therapy for X amount of years. And just within this time that we've been together, I feel like somebody hears me, and that alone is healing. The more you accept yourself, the freer you become. I can't tell you enough how truly magical you are. And nobody's going to do that for you. Nobody's going to discover that for you. It's great to get reminders every once in a while that you're amazing, but I could believe that for you all day. And if you don't believe that for yourself, then you'll just keep getting what you're getting. And I think that there's just so much we've been conditioned. We have been taught to behave a certain way. And when your body and your voice wants to break free, it is going to send you signals. It is going to call out to you. And that is what I truly believe my body was doing, especially in my throat and from my chest. It was just saying, like, it's time for us to be here now. It's time to deconstruct from all the things that have been taught to you of who you need to be and how you need to react and what's acceptable of you, and truly step into the essence of who you were meant to be. My body just was like in a fight, in a brawl. There was so much tension in me. And then once I moved to South Carolina, I did a lot of somatic healing, a lot of throat chakra, throat opening exercises, and just slowed down and found that I was okay with me, and found that yes, you do lose people. Like, people, not everybody sticks around and sticks with you, but there are people that choose you and who will continue to choose you regardless. just because you're you, regardless of whether you flesh or you say things the way they want you to say them or you behave the way they want you to behave. They just choose you. And I think that a lot of that freedom just comes with choosing yourself. I am so thankful for you. I'm thankful that you're here. I wish I could just come through that screen and sit with all of you and say, it's going to be okay. You're okay. You are not broken. This is not a curse. It is an invitation. My plea to you is don't run from it. Sit with it and ask it what it's trying to say to you, and then just go from there. So 6 years, happy birthday to Blushing Phoenix.